We have no idea how this is going to turn out. We're filming on a moving train.
This could be interesting.
What's up, Lit Punks? I'm NJ Sullivan.
And I'm Celosia Crane.
I am a best-selling author and co-founder of Lantern Audio Works.
And I am an award-winning author and co-founder of Lantern Audio Works.
And we are on a moving train.
Yes.
And you'll have to forgive Celosia. She has ADHD, and I forgot to flip the little monitor screen around, so if she's looking off camera, it's not her fault. We have no idea what the audio is going to sound like on this. We have no idea if you're even going to be able to hear us over the rattling of the Amtrak train that we're currently traveling on. And
or if we'll hit a real rough spot of the rail and the camera,
and the camera
will
might fall over. It almost happened twice already.
Yeah.
But traveling on the train and traveling in general is actually what we're going to talk about today. And how that can influence and, for lack of a better term, inspire storytelling. I personally love traveling. I'm not a great flyer, so I avoid it as much as possible. But traveling by rail, traveling by car, seeing new and different places, it really can spark some ideas.
Absolutely.
And that's part of the reason I love doing it, is because you're exposed to things you otherwise wouldn't see.
New places, new people, new viewpoints.
Different architecture.
Yeah.
And we're headed toward Chicago. And we're actually going to do an episode of this show in Chicago where we talk about architecture and talk about being somewhere and the storyteller's eye. But that's a different episode. We'll be getting to that one when we film it.
Yes.
Also, forgive us if we're not our usual energetic selves. We're friggin' exhausted.
The train didn't leave till almost 5 o'clock in the morning. It was supposed to leave at 7 p.m.
It was 9 hours late. Which happens.
It happens.
It's part of travel. That's not the longest delay I've ever had. I once had a 48-hour delay in Cincinnati flying.
Ooh.
Snowstorm. Shut down basically all of Ohio.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as you can see, we are not intentionally moving. That's the train doing that. So, yeah, traveling and the adventures of traveling.
Oh, yes.
Getting stuck in places and
spending 6-7 hours hanging out in Union Station with
in Denver
people that you've never met before.
Yeah.
Entertaining a 13-year-old with The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, I did a dramatic reading of The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe in the middle of a train station.
She was entranced. It was actually pretty cool.
There was a 13-year-old who was bored out of her mind waiting for the same train we were waiting for, and I was like, "You don't know Edgar Allan Poe? Oh, let me learn you something, kid." And it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, just traveling and being, like we were saying, exposed to different things and having those kind of like minor adventures.
Different smells, different tastes.
Different food culture.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And, all those little adventures that you have along the way.
Oh, yeah.
That can, be fodder for stories. It's really something that I've always appreciated and I've always enjoyed.
When I was a senior in high school, I had the opportunity to go to Spain for 2 weeks.
Yes, you did.
And I came up with like a whole ass story while I was there and was writing it out longhand in a composition notebook.
Yeah, I mean, I came up with the idea, a lot of my ideas from a trip to New York when I was 18.
Yeah.
Trip to New York City, that is. And walking around New York City by myself as an 18-year-old, especially if you're a person with an overactive imagination to start with, it gets more overactive.
Yep.
Or traveling to New Orleans. There's a windmill.
Sorry. I'm always fascinated by the giant windmills.
Windmills?
Yeah, apparently.
They're windmills now. How come there are windmills but
and
no wind females? Hi, Rhett and Link, if you see this. Hi, Link's dad, if you see this. But yeah, like traveling to New Orleans, and not just to the touristy areas around the French Quarter, but traveling up into the Garden District and into Holly Grove and the Ninth Ward gave me the idea for a story I'm currently working on. She's trying so hard not to stare at the windmills.
I'll put on my blinders.
No, don't do that. You're messing up the light. But just all of, gave me an idea for a detective story set in New Orleans. Going into an abandoned pumping station, legally, not abandoned, decommissioned pumping station in New Orleans. Really, was a big part of that. So all these things that you see, they can all be fodder.
There was an entire section of my novel that I'm working on editing right now that was inspired by, I was on a missions trip in Romania.
Oh, yeah.
In December, driving through the Carpathian Mountains.
Yeah.
And gorgeous and terrifying, and all of a sudden I can see my main character running through the woods in a fur cape.
Oh, yeah.
And the atmosphere of those woods too. Holy crap. Talk about setting.
Yeah. And there's a whole nother aspect of it that has nothing to do with kind of inspiring stories or being fodder from your own experiences, but just shaking yourself up a little bit.
Yeah. Get out of your usual routine.
Get out of your usual routine, and you never know what that could bring you. I mean, we've just talked about how we were both inspired to write stories. I don't like the word inspired, but I don't have a better one. But we both kind of having ourselves shaken up, being somewhere different, being in being out of our normal routine.
Yeah.
Really helped us, develop new ideas.
Absolutely.
And the more experiences you have, the more you have to draw from to develop those ideas, the more different colored puzzle pieces you have to put together to make a tableau, as it were. So I've missed traveling. I haven't gotten to do much traveling the past few years.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously beyond even the pandemic.
Right.
This is the first time I've traveled out of state in over 4 years.
Since he brought me back.
No.
Out of state?
Oh yeah, since I helped her move out to Colorado.
Out
yeah. And it really does. I missed it. I missed it a lot. And if you're hearing a lot of noises, that's just train stuff going on. Everything's fine. I hope.
We're sitting down in the cafe car.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are coming through to get their foodies.
And it was the quietest spot we could find.
It really was. And the best lighting.
And the best lighting. We were going to film up in the observation car, and there may be some B-roll, maybe not in this episode, but maybe in one of the upcoming episodes from the observation car. But there's nowhere to set down a camera, and we didn't bring a full-size tripod.
No.
Because I wasn't about to haul a full-size tripod. So
not through the streets of Chicago.
No, not high on my list of things to do. Our bags are heavy enough already on top of that. But so yeah, I would absolutely, what's the word I'm looking for here? Encourage any storyteller to get out and experience the world.
Yeah.
And as a person who has anxiety issues and has some mental health issues, that makes it possibly more difficult for me to travel.
More challenging.
Yeah. I do it anyway. And it may be harder for other people than it is for me, but I still do it anyway.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're not alone in this room, as you may be able to tell. But it's so good. You can do a lot with your imagination.
Yeah.
You can do a lot with it. But the more you have to feed your imagination, the better. If you try to exist in a vacuum,
right, ain't gonna work.
You'll be a much better writer if you don't.
The more small sensory details that you can pick up from having been in a place to be able to apply that to your description of your setting makes that setting so much more tangible and real to your reader, even.
An interesting piece of, I wouldn't call it writing advice, but more technique, more storytelling technique type stuff that I ever heard was put at least one sensory detail in every paragraph.
Yeah.
You know, a smell, a color, a feel. You know, I don't know. There's no real a tactile sense.
Yeah.
You know, a sound. You know, put one sensory detail in every paragraph because everyone can connect with sensory details. So the more of those you have at your disposal, the better.
Yeah.
The more direct experience you have in life, the better your stories can be because you're not trying to make something up out of whole cloth. You have a library of experiences to draw from. Even if, you know, to pull the metaphor a little further, even if you take those, you know, little note cards of experiences and tear them up and stick them back together in a different order, they're still there. You still have the assets, to use digital art terms.
The grain of truth.
Yeah. Well, the assets in the sense of I have a bunch of assets on my computer.
Right.
Sound effects.
Yes.
I have a bunch of sound effects. I can either use them exactly as they are in my asset library, or I can modify them to make them something different. Mm-hmm. And the more of those you have, the more you have to draw from, the richer your writing can be.
Yeah.
So, get out and travel. Watch these episodes while we're on the rails here and off the rails.
And maybe consider getting on the rails yourself. It's a kind of fun way to travel.
Yeah, just give yourself a day on either end of the trail.
Yeah, so you don't run into what we did.
Well, yeah, if you run into what we did.
Yeah, if you run into what we did.
So,
because we did that and everything's going to be fine.
Everything's fine because we gave ourselves an extra day on either end.
Yep.
So, yeah, get out and travel, experience. Experience will always make you a better writer. And I think that's about that.
I think that's about that.
All right. So we're going to be doing more of these. Maybe not. Well, we're going to be doing at least one more from the train.
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing a couple while we're in Chicago.
Yes.
So look for more of these coming soon.